we can understand, by understanding the nature and foundation of the system, we can kind of understand what's driving this. Because what the grand jury is it is a neutral, unbiased decision maker that will consider the state's case, so that the state is not the person bringing the accusations, the person investigating it, the person that's judging it, and then also the person that's profiting off of the involuntary servitude of the person that they've labeled aberrant criminal behavior. And so what it is it's actually a check on prosecutorial and state power to make sure that someone is in the mix, or some entity is in the mix that will be able to make sure that the state is acting within their lawful authority. That would be the grand jury. Now, we have some other issues that we'll talk about in just a moment, and that's when you're not present in the grand jury and the unconstitutionality and illegality of that particular issue. But if the state does not conduct a grand jury, or if they've chosen to use their discretion abusively to break the law, to breach the obligation, then that is going to result in an unconstitutional act as well, because you cannot use your discretion with regard to a constitutional obligation. You can't use your discretion to break the law. No public official can do that. And so as a result, there's something known as an emolument violation, meaning that no law can be created that directs someone to break the law. And unfortunately, that's what Oklahoma did here. They created a law that permits their prosecuting attorneys to break the law under that law. And that would be a direct emolument violation. Government can't profit off of their illegal acts. And so, but the information, what happens with information is that an accuser will call up the police and say something happening. Police then will reduce that information to writing in the form of an affidavit, and then they will present it to the court, to the judge. And they'll ask the judge to issue the order for arrest based upon this information that was obtained. So it's the judge that's making the determination. He's making the determination as to whether or not there's sufficient probable cause based upon this officer's, information that he presented. Now, information is But
are you trying to get, so if the Supreme Court sides with you, are you trying to get them to go back retroactively and throw out all these cases?
They have to. Unfortunately, they have to. Now, you have to understand that I'm not fighting for the prisoners, right?
For sure.
I don't know if they're innocent. That's not my job. But what I do know is they're not guilty, because guilt's a process, and you have to follow that process. But what is happening here is that these states have realized that they can make tens of billions of dollars off the forced involuntary servitude of the weakest and most vulnerable in our society, and that's not all right with me. That's not all right with the American people when they understand the true reality of what the system is doing. When these states choose to, create what is or is not aberrant behavior, and then they, investigate what is or is not aberrant behavior, they create an environment where the aberrant behavior can occur because of these drug task forces and other things, and then they bring the accusation against you, they judge you for it, and then they profit off of you in these for-profit state-run systems, state-run businesses for the direct benefit of the state. What the people need to understand, in particular your listeners, is that the 13th Amendment of the United States Constitution, that was the amendment that was adopted in 1865. It was right after the Civil War. It was adopted and intended to abolish slavery. Right? That was what we believe. Slavery doesn't exist anymore. But that's not true, because the 13th Amendment didn't actually say you can't have slavery. Because what it says neither slavery nor involuntary servitude shall exist except as punishment for crime. And when we say except, it means you can't have slavery, but you got to call it justice. So what we've done here is we've actually taken something and retitled it something different, changed it from a private institution to a public institution, and told the American people it doesn't exist, and it does. That's what's led to mass incarceration and the 800% increase in the prison population. That's why we have 16 times more prisoners than the next closest industrialized nation. That's why America has 5% of the world's human population, but 26% of the world's prison population, is because we are taking our countrymen, right, that are hurting, and we're not healing them from the hurt, and instead we're putting them into an abusive environment where we can actually lease them out to for-profit companies such as Halliburton, Northrop Grumman, General Dynamics, Victoria's Secrets, McDonald's, and we will force them into involuntary servitude where they don't get paid a cent, but the state will collect the labor from these companies and corporations and profit off of that servitude. That's not what I think the American people want, and I think that they need to understand that if we're going to have this system profit off of the involuntary servitude, then we are the last industrialized nation to employ slavery.